Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things. And we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So let's get into this topic here. Let's talk a little bit about the Lakers here. As you know, yesterday the Lakers suffered a devastating loss to the Denver Nuggets by losing Game 3, right? And losing it in a pretty decisive way. Lakers kept the game competitive, but the Denver Nuggets just took over the game in the fourth quarter, and that was pretty much the difference in the entire game. They ended up shooting 60% from the field, scoring 35 points in that fourth quarter. I think the Lakers scored 26 points. Ball game, right? Ball game. Nikola Jokic finished that game with 15 points in the fourth quarter. Jamal Murray finished the game, if I'm not mistaken, with 37 points on the game. He was absolutely out of his mind in that first quarter. In the first half, he scored 30 points. In the second half, he scored 7. So they were able to cool him down because they ran a lot of defensive schemes at him with Dennis Schroeder and others. But nevertheless, he finished the game with 37 points. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he finished the game with 17 points. Nikola Jokic chipped in 24 points. And Michael Porter Jr. hit 4 threes in the game. He shot 40%, although that's a pretty high volume to shoot 10. He finished the game with 14 points. And Bruce Brown came off the bench with a lot of energy with 15 points. And, of course, on the Lakers side, Anthony Davis had a big double-double with 28 points and 18 rebounds on 61% shooting. LeBron finished the game with 23 points with 12 rebounds on 42% shooting and 33% shooting from the three. Austin Reeves chipped in 23 points. Rui Hachimura, who's a player, he finished the game with 13 points off the bench, but it simply wasn't enough. Right, it just simply wasn't enough, and the Lakers ended up losing that game 108 to 119. Right now, after the game, a lot of people were kind of reacting to the game, and one of the people that was reacting to the outcome of that game was Stephen A. Smith on SportsCenter, and they asked him, "Hey, Stephen A. Smith, what do you think about the Lakers' chances moving forward?" And he said that he believes that the Lakers ultimately will get swept by the Denver Nuggets. So what we want to do is we want to quickly play Stephen A. Smith's comment, and then we're going to come back and react to what he had to say. Take a listen to that.
Quarter of Game 2, you figured the Lakers would be ready to deal with him, at least in the first half of Game 3, but they didn't. How was Murray able to dominate again?
Because he's such a sniper. He's such an elite scorer in this game. He's really a marksman. If you remember him in the bubble, he was absolutely spectacular. Had that devastating knee injury, and that's the only reason that the Denver Nuggets haven't really been in that championship picture over the last 2 years. The last time we saw him in the postseason, the Denver Nuggets were in the Western Conference Finals, losing to the Lakers, albeit in the bubble, but they were still in the Western Conference Finals. And Jamal Murray was dropping 40 or 50, depending on which game it was. Tonight he comes out, he drops 30 in the first half, doesn't need to do anything in the second half because Kentavious Caldwell-Pope got going. Obviously, Jokic got going. Bruce Brown came off the bench. He had a little something going. The Lakers simply can't stop them. And now, if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James had a string of 21 missed consecutive three-point shots in the fourth quarter before he finally made one. D'Angelo Russell has no business playing. He scored 3 points, 1 of 8 shooting. You have to bench him. He just doesn't have it this series. He needs to sit down and collect splinters, sitting his backside on the bench. That's what needs to happen if you're going to have a shot at winning a game in this series, because the series is already over.
You see a sweep in Game 4?
I do, because don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the Lakers can't win, but based on what we're seeing, literally it's not about the Lakers at this point. It's about the Denver Nuggets. Do we want to just finish them off, or do we want to celebrate back in the Mile High City, in the middle of the week for Game 5? It's really up to them, because the Lakers have shown a complete inability to stop them offensively. They have too many weapons. They're too physical. They're too big. They can't be pushed around, and they have perimeter shooting and athleticism. You can't stop them if you are the Los Angeles Lakers. The Denver Nuggets have spent 3 games showing us that. There's no reason to believe that there can't be a fourth.
I hope they heard that in Denver, because they've been complaining about respect. He just said it's not about the Lakers, it's about the Nuggets.
So you heard what Stephen A. Smith had to say. He believes that the Lakers are going to be swept. First of all, let me just say this from the onset. I am shocked, because I was one of the people that felt that the Lakers were going to be victorious in Game 3. I didn't have the Denver Nuggets winning Game 3. I just didn't. Now, yes, they're the number 1 seed, but the Lakers are a very good team. And you have to keep in mind that the Lakers did beat the Memphis Grizzlies in round 1, which were the number 2 seed. Then they went on to beat the number 6 seed in the Golden State Warriors that beat the number 3 seed, if I'm not mistaken, in the Sacramento Kings. The Lakers were knocking off these teams, right? So I immediately modified my position on the Lakers after they won the second their second series against the Golden State Warriors. So to see them come home in front of that star-studded crowd and drop a game 3, I think everyone was stunned. At least I was. Maybe Denver Nuggets fans were not, but I was. I didn't see that coming, right? And it really speaks to just how good this Denver Nuggets team is. I mean, think about it. For them to go in there and win that game, it's incredible, right? It's incredible. But I also think that these guys are motivated. And I think that the primary thing motivating the Denver Nuggets is the fact that they feel like one of the teams is being disregarded and, basically shunned by the national media. And when you have people like Stephen A. Smith saying, I hate to go to this city, I don't want to go to that city, when you prefer to go to the big cities or whatever, small market teams like this, they get offended, right? And I think they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. And when you have a team that's good enough to back up how they feel and go out there and lay it out on the court, they're going to want to make a point. And beating a team like the Lakers, who's the NBA's darling team, is going to give them even added motivation. You heard some of the comments that Mike Malone, the head coach of the Denver Nuggets, was saying, right? He wasn't going for it. He didn't like the fact that after they were able to win game 1, it became all about the Lakers. And in game 2, it was the same thing. What did the Lakers do wrong instead of what did the Nuggets do right? Right? But to address Stephen A. Smith's point directly, does he feel that the Lakers get swept? In my personal view, I don't believe the Lakers will get swept. I just don't want to believe that. Because, and here's the reason why. The Lakers just beat the Warriors and the Memphis Grizzlies. And those were good teams. So how could they then end up being swept in the conference finals? How is that even possible that they get swept? It would mean that the Denver Nuggets were simply just that good. Like they're really, really good, and a lot of us are not paying attention to just how good this team is. I don't see that happening. I think the Lakers will win game 4, and I think the Denver Nuggets go back and win game 5 at home. Now, the only way I see the Lakers losing is if they cannot emotionally pick themselves up from the mat, from the floor mat, meaning they've just been knocked out psychologically. And I think that's the reason why you saw LeBron say what he said at the end of the game, the post-game presser, where he said, I'm looking to make history here. I'm looking to make history. I think he said it to kind of be a reaffirmation to himself, but also to disseminate the message to his teammates. Like, listen, we're not out of it yet. Right now, the record, I think, with teams that have gone down 3-0 is 178 or something like that. No team has ever come back from being down 3-0. So it's going to be a pretty daunting task. But I don't think they'll get swept. Because if they get swept, I think here's what I think. I think if the Lakers get swept, I think the story should be more about how good the Nuggets are than how bad the Lakers were. Because the fact of the matter is the Lakers are not a bad team. They're not a bad team. They just got beat by the superior team. Because there's no way you can tell me the Lakers are a bad team and they beat the Warriors and the Memphis Grizzlies. You don't do that by a fluke. You can maybe win one series or 2 or 3 games by fluke, but not 2 series. So I think if they do get swept, it speaks to just how good the Denver Nuggets are and not how bad the Lakers are. This is just my take. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comments, and we catch you on the next show.